This. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Get Paid for Your Pad. Today we are talking about how to delight your Airbnb guests by delivering the unexpected. I have a very special guest today, Mr. J.T. McKay. He's the author of Airbnb on Autopilot. He's been investing in real estate for over 25 years, currently operates 10 long-term, short-term rental units all over the country. So JT, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jasper, great to be hanging with you virtually here.
Absolutely. Tell us about you're in Tennessee, correct?
So yeah, I only happened to have stumbled into what turned out to be the hottest market for short-term rentals in the world, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. And I always had a rule in investing. You never invest in a city with the name pigeon in it. I mean, come on, a flying rat? I mean, that doesn't sound like a smart move. But I just, by dumb luck, stumbled into this market, and it has totally transformed my whole investing mentality, my portfolio. So it made me a huge believer and lover of short-term rentals.
Yeah. I heard crazy stories about your market in the last couple of years. Sounds like it's really exploded as people are looking to get out of the cities and get to the mountains and nature and stuff. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on in Tennessee. What's happening there?
You know, every year it seems to make these wacky lists of like top places to go with your family, best spots to, have a great hiking adventure and, go to a theme park. So it's such a diverse area. It's really what I like to say is like Vegas for families, because you have this wild strip downtown where you do have the amusement parks and the go-kart tracks and the slides and the places for dinner shows, dinner theater, great restaurants. And then you have the nature side, the great hiking trails, fishing. So it really checks the boxes for so many different kinds of travelers. And it's a real win on so many levels. But because of that, I mean, the neon lights are flashing, invest here. And people have been flocking into the area. And now it's just silly. It's almost in some ways untouchable because we're talking about $400 to $500 a square foot to get in and jump on this ride. But it's been solid for the past couple of years. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. Well, let's talk about how do we delight our guests by delivering the unexpected. I love that. One slogan that's always stuck with me since I started hosting on Airbnb is under promise and over deliver. Right. And I think that's how we create amazing experiences. So love to get your thoughts on this.
So, like I said, when I just by dumb luck, wandered my way into the Airbnb waters of Tennessee. I really didn't know what I was doing. Like most new hosts, newbies, we're kind of brailing our way through the process, learning as we go. But one thing that hit pretty quick is I better do something a little different than my competitors because I got a lot of sharks nipping at my short-term heels. Because this is such a competitive market, you got to find a way to position yourself just a little higher, offer something a little different than your thousands of competitors, all competing for the same eyeballs as people are, mindlessly zombie scrolling all the listings on Airbnb. So how do you pop out and stop the scroll and hopefully create a relationship with a future customer, a future guest? So like I said, through trial and error, I discovered little ways, little techniques just to catch people off guard, but in good ways. Because you think of mountains, Tennessee. Well, one way to deliver something unexpected, you have a guy dress up in a bear costume and jump out of the closet. That may not be, that'll be unexpected, but will that be delightful? Maybe not. So it's finding ways just to wow people in a way that makes them feel respected and just honored that they chose you by going the extra mile with little things. And there's so many opportunities along like the short-term journey, every stage of it, from pre-sales to pre-stay, and during the stay, we have chances to delight our guests. And I've actually put together 10 tips for you right here. And let me preface this, because a lot of people think, oh my God, delighting my guests means taking a personal hit to my bank account. And that's not true. None of what I'm about to share requires a major hit to your MasterCard. We're not talking about stocking your pace with a Peloton bike or a $8,000 Hammacher Schlemmer espresso maker that most people wouldn't even know how to use anyway. So instead of dropping some serious coin on like shiny and new things, most of what I'm going to share really just requires sharing a little more of you, ourselves as hosts. And that's the whole premise. Uh-oh, you ready? Shameless plug coming up of Airbnb on Autopilot, my new book, is automating from a place of authenticity. Because people are so fatigued with getting spammed, assaulted by spam bombs 24/7. So one way to stop people in their tracks is with just authentic communication, real copy in your listing. And I'd like to start there. If you're ready, buckle up, Jasper.
Absolutely. And I love what you said. They want a little bit more of you, right? I mean, I totally agree. People are looking for more and more for authenticity and, trust, right? And I'm actually watching this TV series called You right now. So
oh yes, on Netflix.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great series. Yeah, real it's a mind bender. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I don't think we want to act like the main character in You as hosts, but it is all about those three letters, you, and not just for us, but for our guests too. Because the first place where I think we all have an opportunity to, catch an eye, win over a heart is with our listing. And some people are going to say, oh my God, that's so basic. I know I need a good listing, but I know you probably notice this too, Jasper, but we scroll a lot. We, analyze a lot of our competitors' listing. And I'm always floored by the amount of people just getting by with the most basic, the most generic listing, not kicking it up a notch, not adding any pizzazz or optimizing for search. And it's the first place you have to really set your listing, set your space apart. I mean, Airbnb gives you all the tools. They give you like 3,000 characters in your listing, and they're not doing that just to be nice, and they're encouraging you to tell a story. So that's where I want to start. And it's the whole, it's the importance of becoming a story seller. And research backs this up, not just some random Amazon author here. Neuroscientists have done studies on the science of stories. And what they found, stories really activate different places in our physical and mental makeup. And they're a bridge to the left and the right side of the brain. They're triggering the release of different neurotransmitters. And I mean, the data is there. Stories have the power to change our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And as hosts, if we aren't tapping in to that fundamental tool, we're missing out. I mean, come on, storytelling has been around since the dawn of man, from the walls in caves to the walls in Facebook. It's really only the medium has changed. We crave these stories. So on all my listings, I assault people with lots of letters and words and spaces and emojis. I take up those thousands of characters and craft a story, not just to try to sell, because once again, like we said, people have had it with being sold to every second of the day. But our job, I think, is to craft this story in a way where your future guest is the hero of your tale. So they need to not just see themselves in your space, which they will by looking at the pictures, but they have to feel it. So you as a storyteller, you're kind of like their personal Yoda. You're their guide, taking them along the way by the way you're writing your copy, crafting your headlines, laying out your listing, is you take them on this great fantasy. Because what is vacation planning? I mean, to me, it's 98% emotional, because they're creating a fantastic future that they hope to realize. So that's our job, to play into that fantasy and push all those buttons, because they're not scrolling listings for lube and tune shops to get a tune up. This is something very personal. They're trying to create a once in a lifetime vacation, a lot of them. And the more we can tap into that and optimize for authenticity, realness, and just creating a bond through this personal sharing in our listing, I think that goes a long way. And you'll see it. You'll see it in your booking rate. And another thing it does, which, we all hear about these horror stories from hosts. Oh, these guests came in, they trashed my unit. And sometimes I've reached out and said, will you send me a link to your listing? And I'll tell you something, Jasper, I can almost spot the ones that will have future problems based on their listing. The hosts that seem to have a lot of troubles are the ones with the most generic 2-sentence, you've seen them, the 2-sentence all cap listings that provide very little information. And by doing that, you're communicating, I don't respect my unit enough to write about it in, a really wonderful way. So why should you respect it as a guest? So it's another way to attract your ideal guest in the way you frame your listing.
Yeah, 100% makes all the sense. If I think there's a saying that goes, people respect you and your stuff as much as you do yourself, right? So I 100% agree. When you see a listing and the photos are kind of mediocre and the host just did not put any effort into their profile, you're automatically going to go into that experience with a different mindset, I think. So, and
100%.
It attracts different type of clients, to different type of guests.
And then it becomes a race to the bottom. All those people can compete on is price, and they're going to be compressed to the lower range because they're not offering really any more value except for a dollar sign. So how much respect will you have for someone who only sees his property as transactional, just a way to make a buck? And then, like you said, they will treat that. You get what you give. Yeah. And that is so key to get this right at the listing stage. And I think a lot of people, when they roll their eyes when they hear us talking about listings, because everyone feels, oh, my listing's good enough, I'm getting bookings. But is it good enough? So it's smart to audit your listing a couple times a year to make sure it's still pushing the right buttons and seeing that listing through the eyes of your perfect guests, to come up with an avatar. Who do you want staying at your place? Well, there's ways with, marketing, with copywriting to, attract those people.
100%. So, I like how you split it up into there's 3 phases, right? In the hosting, the hosting journey, so to speak. There's the pre-stay, or actually you could say there's the phase where people haven't made the booking yet. So the pre-booking phase. Then there's the phase between the booking and the check-in. Then there's the actual stay, and there's the post-stay. So there's kind of like 4 stages, right? So I would love for you to, for all those 4 stages, like what are those concrete things that people can do to deliver that delight to their guests?
Definitely. Well, hopefully we have all of our guests twittering because of our magical listing, and that would be the pre-sales phase, which I'm calling it. And then they booked because so much dopamine has been released from our listing. They can't wait to get there. So the money's flowing to us and good feelings are flowing through them. And now we're in the pre-stay phase. And to me, one of the more important tools is your house manual. And this is another one. Once again, people are saying, oh my God, these tips, I've heard them all before, but no. You may have heard them, but what does your house manual look like? This is such an overlooked item. It's a small item that really carries a lot of weight. This thing done right could help you as a host on so many levels. So a lot of people, I know not all your listeners are seeing the video right now, but when I bought my cabin, this was kind of the welcome sheet, the flyer in the cabin. It's basically a one-page laminated white sheet with maybe purple text in a script font. You see it. It's just all text. It's a wall of text. And a lot of people are used to that. They're used to the very least. So when I came in, I said, no, we have to, this is an opportunity to, once again, delight and do something a little different. So by transforming an expectation of basic information, because what is a house manual? It's basically, there's rules, there's operating procedures, how to use things, information about the area. So why not transform that into something wow-worthy? So create this colorful book. And once again, I'm flipping through pages through probably an 8-page PDF that's sent out. There's a page about my wife and I. So it gives our backstory. So it creates a personal connection with our guests. We're real people. We're not some faceless corporate of 100 corporation who doesn't give a damn about you. We're real people. We're travelers. So we create our story, shared commonalities with our guests. And that's important for connection. And then just once again, it's using clip art and basic design to motivate people to actually turn the pages. Because as hosts, these house manuals, they not only protect us, they also should provide some value to the guests. So they understand how to get the most out of our properties, but they're not going to read, a densely packed one pager with text, because that's really boring. So once again, find ways to incorporate some basic design skills and storytelling into your house manual. And also it's a chance to infuse your personality and fun into this document, because remember, the house manual, it's really going to be their first stop along their, before they get to your space, it's their first stop. This is the next best representation of your house, your property. So it's a chance to create a connection with your guests through it. And once again, emphasis has to be on fun. This is a vacation. It's not court mandated rehab they're going to. So it doesn't have to be stern and full of strict rules and a lot of finger wagging. And another area to delight is just go beyond the basics. Give info about food delivery services, ride sharing services, of course, restaurants. Don't just give a random list of restaurants. Give some short recommendations, short reviews to those restaurants. Of course, area information is great. And another way to spice things up to the next level is to shoot short how-to videos. Let's say you have a wireless thermostat, which many of us do. And to us, big deal. But some of our guests, they're not used to that technology. So anything almost more complicated than a light switch that may cause someone to fumble, may cause somebody to reach for their phone to message or call you, which is hosts. We want less of that, right? We want less disturbance, more time to count our STR profits. So any opportunities you have to connect guests with helpful information to make their stay more seamless, you should take. So on my websites for my cabins, I have these helpful do-it-yourself videos, how to use the electronic lock, how to operate the hot tub or the thermostat. And they're just, once again, they're under a minute. But once again, it's a great opportunity just to show up and get on camera and make another connection with your guest by letting your personality fly.
It's interesting. I was just talking to a good friend of mine a couple of days ago about this, and he is somebody he loves convenience. Like, he doesn't like to think when he's staying at an Airbnb or a holiday. And I think it's true for most people. It's like, if you can save somebody spending 2 minutes trying to figure something out, that's big value. That's an extra $10 per night, right? Because because that's what we're looking for when we're, like you said, like we're going on a holiday for fun. And the last thing that we want to do is spend time going into our brain, trying to figure something out that, that could have been explained beforehand, like you said, with some how-to videos, right? That's a great way, like you said, like it doesn't cost money to shoot like a short video, right? So it's like you're investing in your short-term rental, you're upgrading the experience, but it's not actually costing you any extra money. So I think that's great, great advice.
And another thing too, that a lot of people sometimes get intimidated. Oh, I don't want to be on camera. I don't know how to edit. Well, for this, personality trumps production value. People aren't expecting, a whiz bang Hollywood production. They're just expecting you to show up and, just have a conversation with them over video, walk them through steps. And if you can make it fun, even better. Because like you said, we don't want to interrupt. It's called a pattern interrupt. They're in this space. Once again, back to the fantasy. They're living their dream for maybe 5 nights, 6 days in your property. And the less that we interrupt that dream, the better. So when things start breaking down, when they can't figure out how to, it's 80 degrees in the unit and they can't figure out this darn electronic thermostat. And I mean, that shifts them out of the fantasy zone into the stress zone. And that's never where we want our guests to be.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. We don't want to have our guests be in the stress zone. So if we can prevent that, then we're doing a great job.
Definitely. And moving along the journey here, which is something I focus a lot in my book, and I know you do too. And I think early on in my journey, I really appreciated all the content you would offer just regarding smart ways to automate the process. And that's kind of the tagline of my book is hosting smarter, not harder. And the best way to do that, if anything you do, is just automating your guest communications, but automating from a place of authenticity. So you got to fire the robot and put on your best front desk smile and offer up really your greatest asset is your special sauce, the you special sauce. This is something that you as a host have that every other host doesn't, is your uniqueness. And that always needs to be on display to set yourself apart from others. And even if you just do that, even if you just inject more, like I said, you in your messaging and your listing and your house manual, I mean, you've already kicked up, the scale a couple notches because most aren't doing this. And it always surprises me, but they aren't. So I'm sure a lot of your listeners, they're savvy to this. They have an automated message sequence. And if you don't, you should definitely put one into play. Stop, push, pause, and do this now because it's going to save you a world of hurt in the future. And another thing these messages do, guests don't feel abandoned if, they know that you're still there. You're on the sidelines. They don't want you to be waiting in the bushes because that's creepy and waiting for their every need. They just need to know that if they need you, you're there. And to me, the very best message, the message that I think really seals a bond with your guests, is the first morning check-in message. Hey, just want to make sure you arrived and that your check-in went smoothly. I hope you're enjoying the place. Please let me know if you have any questions, you want any restaurant recommendations. And I remind them of a lot of things I've already offered in my house manual. Look to that for these recommendations. If something seems off in the space, this is the time. Contact me now. I want to do whatever I can to make your stay comfortable and special. So I think I've received the most positive feedback by that first morning message, because once again, guests aren't expecting it. At this point, guests think, okay, well, my credit card's been dinged. They got my money. They're moving on. They're trying to rope in the next guest. But that communicates, no, you are my top priority right now. And I'm here for any of your needs. So that has been key.
When you said hiding, don't creep up, don't hide in the bushes and creep up. I was thinking that's about that's what Joe, the character from you,
Yeah.
if he would run an Airbnb.
Totally, he would. Yeah, and he may be he gets some high marks for being attentive, but I hope he's wearing camouflage because that could be a real ratings killer. And the sweetest sound in any language, Jasper, is someone's name. There is no sweeter of a sound. So please, hosts, make sure in your automated message you use those tags for customization. So even though it's an automated message, it's not some spam bot that's tweaking the AI behind the scenes to communicate with your guests. So always include the guest's name in all your messages. That really goes a long way. Once again, that's a small tweak. But how many messages have you received? Hi. Oh, the worst, hi guest. You got to love that. I always feel warm and fuzzy. Oh, how did he know that wasn't my first name? And so, okay, we know that first morning message is good. How do we make it better? Because we're all about optimizing and really packing that delight punch. So one way to really kick that to the next level is by recording a custom video welcome message. So you transform your first morning message into a little video. Now, hang on. I know some of you are getting heart palpitations. What? That's a lot of work. But hear me out. So you create a script. It's the same script for every guest, every property. But you just say, hey, Joe, and it's basically your first morning message, but in a short video. And just Jasper, imagine here you are, you're staying at an Airbnb in London, and the host, Jeeves, sends you, good morning, Jasper. Hope you arrived okay. I mean, how does that make you feel, that level of personalization and attention?
Special. Makes me feel special.
Right. It's a real special connection. And there's a hack to this where if recording a bunch of custom videos, now granted, this could be done, you could sit down and do a batch, like 2 weeks of guests, because I know my calendar, I don't get a lot of cancellations. So I could probably with confidence look forward over the next 2 weeks and just sit down for a half hour, bang out all these videos. And then even using something as simple as Airbnb's scheduled message delivery, I could set them up to go out automatically the first morning. But if that's too much, then just create a generic but heartfelt video welcome message. So it's the same video. You're just saying hi, not hi guest, but just, hey, hope you made it okay. And once again, you're looking right into their eyes on their screen. And I think that's really another way to surprise somebody.
For sure.
And you never get that from a hotel. One thing, let's clarify, because, okay, we're looking to delight our guests by delivering the unexpected. Okay. Now, I think the ... after unexpected is what we're implying is more than they would find at a hotel, because about 85% of my guests are first-time Airbnbers. So their level of expectation is the same as a Hilton or Holiday Inn. So it's low, right? So how do we deliver more than a Motel 5 can? So that's a baseline, I think, for a lot of this conversation, because that's a lot of people's reference point is they've only experienced the service offerings from a hotel. So there's so many ways we beat the hotels every time, once again, by showing up as unique operators with personalities. We're humans and we want to have a connection with our guests.
Love that. A quick question on the videos. What do you use to record and deliver the welcome videos?
I mean, right now, there's never been more free tools online to record. I mean, it could be as simple as your smartphone. Just pop it out, go record it. And then what I do is, or any free video recording service online. So you create it. How do you deliver it? One, the easiest way is to upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video. So no one else will see it, only people with that link. Then you embed that link in a message. And now, if anyone has tiptoed around Airbnb's scheduled message option, it doesn't deliver all the bells and whistles that I think we need as hosts. Like, we cannot schedule a custom message just for Stacy arriving next Saturday. These scheduled messages, as you probably know, they're for everyone. They're scheduled, meaning every Tuesday at 1 p.m. this will go out. But I recently was on an international trip, and I found a way to kind of hack the scheduled message. So I could send individual guests custom messages just with their check-in info, their door codes. And the same things could be done to schedule these video messages.
Yeah. What a tool that I like to use for local messages is Loom.
Yes, Loom is great.
Yeah,
Loom's a great one.
Loom is probably one of my favorite tools. You can definitely use YouTube. I think that's a good option too. But what I like about Loom is you can record it on your phone, and it automatically creates a URL. So then you can immediately just copy paste that URL. You don't actually have to go and upload it to another platform. So that's my preferred way of doing it.
That's great. And once again, it's less barriers to action, kind of one-stop video recording. So yeah.
For sure. Awesome, man. I'm really enjoying this conversation. But time goes fast when you're having fun. So we got to wrap up in a few minutes. So, I want to give you the opportunity to. Is there anything else you wanted to share on this topic?
Yeah, let me dive into, because we spent a lot of time on the pre-sales. Let me get into the stay when they're there. How do you impress and delight once they're in your space? Because this is really important. Because you want to keep the smiles going for a long time. So something I stumbled upon was having a basket of selfie props, because we all want people to take pictures of our space and maybe hashtag us, share us on social media. So give them a reason, incentivize it with, go to the party store and find a bunch of fun little props people could pose with in the pictures. And you can even run monthly contests to incentivize sharing by offering discounts and other giveaways. And you never know the size of your guest social network. So you could be one influencer away from putting your property on the map. So that was a small tweak that really has delivered some big rewards, because people love to remember their time. QR codes are huge. And once again, they connect people with information quickly. And I embed a lot of UR codes around the cabin and flyers and other information. Like here I have on the refrigerator this QR code. You want more information? You want the restaurant lists? You want area recommendations? We'll just point your phone at the code and boom, magically we'll send you information right to your phone. I'm just whipping through these. Make sure you delight their devices. It's amazing how many people have not optimized for technology in their spaces. So make sure to have USB charging outlets, lamps with USB plugs in the bottom, Bluetooth speakers, because that's really what guests are expecting. Another thing is VIG discounts. You've heard of VIP? Well, this is very important guest discounts, where you contact local restaurants and attractions to create a special discount package just for your guests. And that really goes a long way, that your guests feel, they're really thinking of me and my best interests. And they remember that. And lastly, like free swag. For higher end listings, you could consider putting out a couple mugs or pens, even a cookbook PDF. If you're in an area that has regional dishes or specialties, throw some recipes together and brand it with your property name and logo. And that's a really fun little unexpected perk.
Love it.
Yeah. And the bottom line, Jasper, as we wrap it up, if you delight your guests, they're going to delight you with 5-star reviews, return visits, and word of mouth love. So this is definitely worth spending some time on.
100%. I think everything you shared is super on point. Really appreciate your advice. So let people know where they can find your book.
You can check out this little page turner on Amazon called Airbnb on Autopilot. You could find out more info at my name, jtmckay.com. And I have a bunch of freebies in here, free messaging templates, a cleaning checklist, what to stock your rental property with. So, and reach out to me if you need any more information. You could find me at jtmckay.com. I'd love to talk shop with your listeners.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to check it out and give it a read. So, JT, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving so much value here. Maybe we'll have you back in the future.
Well, Jasper, thank you. On behalf of all your listeners, we thank you for all the value that you've been providing over the years. And so many of us were motivated by your show to take the plunge into this crazy world of short-term investing, which has changed all of our lives. So thank you for all that you continue to give. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate your words. And for the listeners, we'll be back with another episode soon. So we'll see you then.